Hi.
It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
I am Des Clark and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. Joining me this week is comedian and broadcaster Fred Macaulay, and with him is stand-up and presenter Aisha Hazarika. And facing off against them is comedian Alistair Barry, and joining him is stand-up and writer Susan Riddle. In the news this week, 5 Scotland fans were caught entering Moldova illegally to watch the World Cup game. And due to confusion caused by them identifying themselves as members of the Tartan Army, we are now at war with Moldova. Singer Will Young handcuffed himself to the front gates of a facility that breeds dogs for laboratory research. Thankfully, the singer's pleas have been answered as he was successfully adopted and is now on his way to his forever home. And people in the west of Scotland were shaken by an earthquake in the early hours of Tuesday morning. Glaswegians living 88 miles away from the epicentre were woken up by the trembling and leapt out of bed, though that was just excitement at thinking they'd finally heard the bin lorry. Right, you've met the panel. Let's crack on with round one. And this is the Broken News Round, where our teams have to guess the 2 major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Fred and Aisha, can you tell me our first story, please?
In the run-up to Christmas, you may need to prove you've been double jabbed in order to enter
the Campbell oil field off Shetland.
A decision on whether to widen the
Climate Pact
will be taken next week.
Boris Johnson says it sounds like the death knell for
Theatres, cinemas and pubs.
Well, there we go, Aisha. Again, lots going on this week. What do you think our first story is?
I think the first story is the fallout from COP26, or the Glasgow Climate Pact. Very, very dramatic final scenes when India and China suddenly popped up and they said that they wanted to move from phasing out of coal to phasing down. And that's a bit like me saying, I'm never drinking again to I'm just going to drink at the weekends. That's basically the equivalent of that. But I just want to say, as the representative for India on the panel today, I feel like we've had quite a hard time. Like, a lot of people are really being mean about India. But I just don't think it's very fair, because my parents recycle everything, especially Tupperware, and they never ever put the heating on, so even if it's -8 degrees outside. So seriously, we ain't the problem here, okay?
Yes, it is the news that the COP26 climate conference came to an end with world leaders agreeing to the Glasgow Climate Pact. There had been much discussion this week about the details of the agreement, with many scientists and climate experts voicing concerns about the outcome. By the time COP26 was scheduled to end, there were several big decisions still to be made, like whether they should wake Joe Biden or just let him sleep on.
The biggest news of COP26 and the biggest fallout there has been is between Iron Brew and Tunnocks, because Nicola Sturgeon managed to get Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to drink Iron Brew, and she also gave Joe Biden a Tunnocks caramel wafer, and the old buffer didn't have his teeth in. So he tried to suck a caramel wafer.
Alistair, did you keep up with it? What was your thoughts on COP26?
There's not really been much of an agreement. They've just said they're going to make sure they try harder next year. And you do think that's not really an environmental summit, is it? That's a comedian having a bad Edinburgh festival.
Susan, I'm sure you've got a comment on this. COP26 has been on your doorstep for the last couple of weeks. What did you make of it?
I think it's kind of created more problems than it's solved, because IKEA, they donated a bunch of furniture at the COP26 thing, and now they don't know what to do with it. It's lying in a tent somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I think that it's definitely going to end up on eBay, isn't it? Just some mad guy I have it on good authority that Obama farted in this chair. 500 quid, please.
I wish that they'd done COP at the time capsule in Coatbridge. I think that would have been so, because that is like the ice age there. It's also, I thought that would have been better than.
There you go. Can you imagine just President Biden coming down a flume? What do you think? Did we achieve much out of COP26?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, the process continues and it is going to be a long time in getting things sorted out. So I think huge congratulations to Scottish Events Campus who hosted it, to Police Scotland. There was nothing really drastic happened, and during COP26, I mean, I parked in double yellow lines all over Glasgow, never got a ticket once, drove through the town at 47 miles an hour, it was classic. I went through to Edinburgh 4 times, took my bins through, emptied them out in the new town. Had a great time during COP26, it was fantastic.
Susan, what do you think at the end of it all? Was there much that was achieved at COP26?
I hope so, because I'm ginger. So my kind are going to be like the first to perish if it gets any hotter. I'm just like, what factor am I going to need to wear in the future? I already get sunburned off my sad lamp.
Fred, what about it? COP26 was all about making a deal. What's the best deal that you've ever made?
I had a great deal earlier in the summer. My daughter got married, and it was still during restrictions, so there was only 42 people there. And we said, look, we'll have a big reception for you next year. And she and her husband went off, and they had a few days, a mini-moon, and they came back, and we said, right, let's organise the event for next year. And she said, Dad, we've had a think about this. We just want last Friday to be our special day. We don't want the big party. And me and my wallet did a lap round the garden.
The end of the COP26 climate conference is the correct answer. Fred and Aisha, well done. You get 2 points for that. Now to you, Alistair and Susan, what was the other story we were after?
I think that might be about the vaccination passport.
I think you might be right. It's the right answer, yes. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon confirmed on Tuesday that vaccine certificates could potentially be rolled out to cinemas, theatres and other hospitality venues. She said that a final decision will be made next week. So in this year's nativity, Mary and Joseph won't be turned away for the inn because it's busy. It's because they're not double jabbed.
I don't know if you have seen that advert Tesco have done, and Santa's like double jagged in it, and he's got his COVID passport, and people are going after their nut. So they are. But I think, like, for balance, I think they should have their next advert, like maybe the Easter bunny's an anti-vaxxer. Just to even it out.
I'm just thinking about Santa being double jabbed. My daughter just standing by the fireplace going, "Could I see your paperwork?"
Well, I've got my passport. Yeah, I got my vaccine passport. Downloaded the app because this week I'm going to a cup semi-final tomorrow / later today / last Saturday. As a supporter of the cup holders, incidentally. And Nicola Sturgeon said that she might bring in more restrictions, but she might not. But I've been hearing that the NHS in Scotland is heading for a crisis, potentially the worst crisis that Miss Sturgeon has witnessed in the 12 years that she's been either Health Secretary or First Minister, and it's just a shame she's never been in a position to do something about it.
John Swinney said, look, don't worry, guys, we're going to have a normal Christmas. And I was thinking, John, you're not exactly selling it. What is a normal Christmas? Like terrible food, mild racism, and someone finding out that their weird uncle is actually their dad. Like, you know.
I just think any restrictions, people are just going to find like loopholes to get out of them. Like nightclubs are putting furniture on the dance floor so that they're no longer deemed a nightclub. It gets them this mad loophole. It's going to end up in more like hospital admission cases, like no anything to do with COVID, just like somebody's done the slosh, banged into a Billy bookcase and crushed the rest of the revellers. It just shows you how long I've been to the dancing. I think people still do the slosh.
Alistair, obviously we're talking about vaccine passports. The question is, though, are further restrictions better than another lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, we're stand-up comics. We stopped working for 18 months, so anything that means that we can keep comedy clubs open, for instance. I mean, I was furloughed. I mean, who knew what furloughed meant? If someone came up to you February 2020 and said, "I've been furloughed," you'd be like, "Oh." As a result of COVID, I spent an entire week, a friend of mine lent me his basement. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and after the diagnosis, I spent an entire week in my friend's basement with the dog watching Netflix, and it was the best week of my life.
But there you go, Aisha. That's the question. Are further restrictions better than a full lockdown?
Listen, I am a tired perimenopausal woman. I need some me time. I need to catch up on Succession. I'm ready for another lockdown.
Good to go for it.
I'm good to go. Who's
Get
with
in
me?
there. Well, what do you think about this then, Fred? Are there any restrictions you would like to see brought back?
No, none at all. I mean, look at this. We've got a live audience, right? We've waited 18 months and a couple of weeks to get you people in. We've got people with Scotland flags across their mouths and things like that. Don't know if that's a Welsh flag or something like that down the front. And look at that, the clown face over there. I hope that's a mask. Sorry if I've offended you there.
Well done to Alistair and Susan. You get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of Glasgow's COP26 conference and the potential extension of vaccine passports. And at the end of that round, the teams are on 2 points apiece. Now, so much of our news is about public opinion, and this week we spoke to Holmes Under the Hammer presenter Martel Maxwell and comedian Christopher K.C. So, Alistair and Susan, what story do you think Christopher is on about here?
I think we've all done it. You know, I've done it myself to impress other people and make it seem like I'm more cultured than I actually am. Yeah, that's the worst fear everyone has when someone asks them a follow-up question. Or a specific part on it, you know. Everyone's telling me to watch the US version of The Office and also The Wire. Everyone keeps telling me to watch The Wire.
There's a survey, something to do with having lied about what TV you've watched to make yourself look cool.
That is the news that 52% of us have lied about watching a TV show in order to impress others. Sci-fi show Stranger Things topped the list that people lied about watching. One of the top 3 shows people lied about having seen was Breaking Bad, which is a shame because it's actually a brilliant show. You know, that guy, and it's bad and he breaks it. Amazing, you should watch it. All 17 of them.
I lied and says I watched the news to go on this show.
Fred, do you buy this one? We're hearing that a lot of people lie about their viewing habits. Is it something you would do?
Yeah, I watched some of the ones that were mentioned. I watched Breaking Bad, all of it. Enjoyed that very much. Schitt's Creek. Didn't watch all of Stranger Things. Didn't really get into that. Saw some of The Crown. Mm-hmm. But I'll definitely be watching Series 9, the one set in a Louisiana prison.
Susan, what do you think about this? Do you understand why people lie?
No, really, because you always get caught. Like, I've been lied to a lot. Well, I'm single, so, like, I'm on all the dating apps, like Tinder and stuff. People get catfished. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's just when people lie about their appearance to pretend they're better looking than they are. But I've recently been hatfished. That's just when a guy wears hats in all his photos. And I was just like, oh, that's a lovely hat collection. And then he lures me out on a date and he's just like, surprise, I'm bald.
You go,
Just leave it there.
It's not even the baldness. Like, I would date a bald man. It's just the deceit test, do you know what I mean?
No, I can feel your pain, and I now feel...
no, you can't. Look at you. You're sat there between 2 men with your ridiculous head of poked up hair going, I understand what it's like to be. And this is you lying in public to get sympathy.
Hang on.
With 2 bald men in the air.
Do you understand, Aisha, why people lie?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, we have a Prime Minister that does it on a regular basis, so it's quite... it's sort of like... feels like it should be part of the citizenship test, you know what I mean? Like...
Susan, what about you? Have you ever lied to make yourself sound cool?
No, not to make myself sound cool, but I've lied to make myself seem more dainty. Like when I was younger, I used to lie about my shoe size. Because I had bigger feet than all my pals, and then just like cram my feet into these like wee shoes, and just like an ugly sister out of Cinderella.
Lying about watching TV shows to impress other people is the correct answer. 2 points goes to Alistair and Susan. Right, Fred and Aisha, what do you think Martel is talking about here?
Life is expensive. I spend most of my time in supermarkets buying food for 3 wee boys and a husband. You need to work hard just to afford your groceries. You do. Space Raiders. I got a packet of Space Raiders the other day. Yes, 10 pence, but there was 4 Space Raiders inside.
I think it's about money, isn't it?
It is the one. You might have noticed yourself as it was announced this week that the cost of living is increasing at the highest rate in almost 10 years. Yes, with prices of everything continuing to rise, experts say we might soon see the day when DFS sells a sofa at full price. It is the apocalypse, Fred. Have you noticed this? Things getting more expensive?
Very much so, yeah. I mean, it just depends on your circle of friends. You know, for some people it can be crisps and snacks, but for me and my friends it's about, you know, the cost of raw materials for the extension that you're building in the house. That kind of stuff. Oh, I mean, wood has just gone up dramatically. It's incredible. Whereas other people are saying, oh, gosh, hula hoops are a fortune now. And they're getting smaller. I bought one the other day and it was just all hoop. There's no hula at all.
As Fred was saying, that the cost of materials has risen by 25%. So I think it's going to be terrible. And I think Bob the Builder is going to have to change his catchphrase to, can we fix it? Yes, but it's going to cost you 3 times as much. And I've got no staff as they all went back to Eastern Europe after Brexit.
At what point are we going to be there? How long have you been queuing for petrol? Well, about 6 months now. When I started queuing for petrol, it was £1.20 a litre. Now it's £1.60. So clearly the quality of the petrol is improving. And after that's got better, I'm going to go and get my turkey for Christmas. It's only November. Well, I know that, but at the same time, I think you want to get in there early because I don't have to hand build all my children's presents from scratch because of the supply chain crisis, which is going to interrupt me training for my HGV licence, at which point that's going to be difficult. I've got a huge pile of pigs that I need to burn as an alternative energy source because my prices have gone through the roof. Good job it's nothing to do with Brexit, isn't it? It's almost like nothing's to do with Brexit. It's incredible all these terrible things started happening. It's the most amazing coincidence, isn't it? It's almost like we shouldn't have bothered doing it in the first place.
Well, there you go. We're talking about the cost of living going up. So let's try and ask our panel a bit about that. From a personal point of view, Aisha, what's been your most extravagant purchase?
Oh, that's got to be my seat in the House of Lords.
Susan, what's been your most extravagant purchase?
My Dyson cordless Hoover, which I love more than any of my family. And, I'm really worried about myself that I'm going to turn into one of the women in the front of Chat magazine and pick me up. I've married my Hoover.
Fred, final thoughts on this to you. We're talking about extravagant purchases.
Yep.
What's been your most extravagant purchase?
Well, the most extravagant thing, we bought a new boiler, a new gas boiler just a few short years ago, and now we're going to have to get rid of it and get something that's called an air heat pump or something like that. And I bizarrely, during lockdown, I got a phone call in the morning as I was sitting at my porridge, and this guy phoned up and he said, "Is that Mr. Macaulay?" I thought, right, we're off to a good start, nice and polite. I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Jason." I said, "Who are you calling from, Jason?" He said, "I'm phoning from the Scottish Government's boiler replacement scheme. How are you today?" I said, "I'm roasting," and hung up.
The increasing cost of living is the correct answer. 2 points goes to Fred and Aisha. You're tuned to Breaking the News on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. So I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. So Fred and Aisha, you're up first this time. Who is this?
Just relax in front of the goal and get the finish. That's what the coaches told me, but I never paid any attention to that. I just kept smashing it as hard as I could and never scored.
That was, of course, Steve Clarke.
Absolutely right. Well done, Fred, for correctly identifying Steve Clarke. The manager of the Scotland's men's national team has been praised after Scotland beat Denmark to secure their 6th consecutive win, whilst also ending Denmark's 26-game winning streak. Steve Clarke, Scotland manager, doing great things with the men's national team.
I'm absolutely delighted, because I love the rivalry. I mean, after when we played you in the Euros, I got a Scottish mate texting me, telling me that you pummeled us 0-0.
Susan, what about it? Steve Clarke leading Scotland to great success in the football. What do you think of the job that he's doing?
I don't really know much about him, but I do know that he's been criticised for not smiling enough, which is, I find annoying. Like, that happens to me when I walk past like building sites. You'll get like workies like, smile, love. So what I do now is I preempt it. I just like smile manically and laugh in an unhinged manner when I'm passing building sites. So I want Steve to do the same on his interviews, just like
Is it slightly odd to see us playing so well at this level?
Odd but exciting, I have to say. But we've still got a way to go. We've got the semi-final and hopefully the final, and that will get us off to Qatar. And I feel sorry for the people of Qatar. Visit Qatar website crashed this week with tens of thousands of inquiries. Can you get bevy in Doha? and knowing that this might come up, our favourite Scottish football chant for some reason now is from The Sound of Music. So I've reworded this a wee bit, Des, and I hope this works. I've just written this. Doha, dear, it's awfully dear. Raise away to get some cans. Me, I'm looking for some pies. Falafel's all they've got. So I'm glad I brought some Greggs. Last night is just pretty much just a blur. Tea is going to be more cans, which will bring us back to Doha.
Aisha, what do you think about this? Scotland's men's team doing so well for the first time in a long time. Odd, exciting. How do you feel about it?
I think it is really, really, really exciting, and it is so good to see Scotland doing well. But the only thing I would say is my only reservation is that I know how Scottish uprisings end, so that is that's my only note of caution about it.
Susan, what do you think about this then? Scotland men's team playing so well for the first time in a long time. Does this bring you any kind of excitement?
I just don't like football. I don't like it. I don't like the way that they fake injuries as well. Do you know what I mean? That just annoys me, but I'd quite like to deploy those tactics when I'm having a bad gig. Just on a comedy stage, just jokes not going well, just drop to the floor and somebody stretchers me off. I'll just shout at audience members, like, referee, that was funny! Book them!
Yes, 2 points go to Fred and Aisha. That was indeed the Scotland manager, Steve Clarke. Right, Alistair and Susan, it's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
But essentially, the way that we react with each other and the way that we interact with our guests is very much the way it would be if you came around for dinner.
That's Richard Madeley.
Yes, that is Richard Madeley. Well done. TV host Richard Madeley, who was recently announced as Piers Morgan's replacement on Good Morning Britain, is amongst the stars revealed to be taking part in this year's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Will he be a good addition to that show?
There's a list of things he said on some programme about vets bills, and he said, is there a point where you just say, too expensive, the dog has to die?
I think he'll do really well on I'm a Celebrity because he's worked with Piers Morgan, so he's used to being around creepy things that make your skin crawl. But so I do some stuff on Good Morning Britain, and I've worked with him quite a lot. And the last thing I did with him, there was this big interview with Shamima Begum, and it's like it's a really harrowing part of the interview, and it's like really, really like full on. And he goes, "We're just going to go to a break, Shamima. Don't go away." Like, Richard, she's in the camp in North Syria. Where do you think she's going to go?
He will create moments, very watchable ones. Richard Madeley, of course, known for his famous gaffes. So let's ask our panel about gaffes that they have made. Your most famous faux pas.
When I was working in Frankie and Benny's, I was serving this table. It was like a 40th or something, and we were getting along dead well, and there was loads of, but I thought I'm getting a good tip here. And then at the end of the meal, the guy came up to me and says, "Can we get a photo?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not looking my best, but..." I thought I'd done such a good job at waitressing that they wanted my photo. He's like, "No, we just want a photo of us at our family event."
That's so good.
My most memorable faux pas, this is a shocker. In the space of a week, I met two women, and the first one was called Prunella, but it was shortened, so she was just called Prune. Right, that was her name. And the woman that I met at the end of the week, her actual name was Plum, right? And I mistakenly called her Prune. I mean, the connotations of that. Oh, my God.
Go on, Aisha. We're talking about Richard Madeley and all his gaffes. Have you ever made a memorable faux pas?
So I got two names mixed up in my phone. One was Nina, the cleaner, who's my cleaner, and the other one was another Nina, who was a member of the European Parliament and quite an... I kept sending her these messages going, could you hang my pants out?
Richard Madeley is the right answer. 2 points go to Alistair and Susan. And it's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. So I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. Get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
Sleaze after sleaze, corruption after corruption.
That's Angela Rayner there with a pretty harsh review of this week's Great British Bake Off. Right, fingers on the buzzers, teams, here we go. Young people are almost 4 times more likely to do what than older people? Susan.
Survive the winter.
Young people are almost 4 times more likely to do what than older people? Fred.
Is it answer this question before me because the reaction times are better?
Is the right answer. Young people are almost 4 times more likely to do what than older people? Aisha.
A cartwheel.
A lovely answer. It's not right, but wow. I can give you the answer, and it is this. Young people are almost 4 times more likely to watch TV with subtitles than older people.
Sleaze after sleaze, corruption after corruption.
Oh, there we go. We're out of time. That's the klaxon. Angela has Rayner. It means it's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Fred Macaulay and Aisha Hazarika. Unlucky. Let's hear it. Commiserations go to Alistair Barry and Susan Riddle. And we'll leave you with the breaking the news. Breaking news just in. Panini, the football sticker firm behind the playground craze of the 1970s and 80s, is celebrating its 60th anniversary. Ah, happy days when you could have a little folder of photos of footballers that wasn't part of a police investigation. A couple who met online during the pandemic have tied the knot via Zoom, even though the pair have never met in real life. Apparently, the future bride took quite a while to say yes to the proposal, mainly because the guy had gone down on one knee and forgot to tilt the camera. And Boris Johnson has set out plans to stop MPs from working as paid consultants, as a Commons debate on banning second jobs began this week. The issue was discussed at Prime Minister's Questions, which ended 15 minutes early, as Dominic Raab had a shift at Subway. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye!